Welcome to lesson 4. For this week's lesson, you will be writing the full response for the question that we've looked at previously. Please make sure that you go back through on the YouTube channel and look at lesson 1, 2 and 3 before you attempt this week's lesson. So, for this week, you are going to write for the full time available for this writing response. Thinking carefully about what we looked at last week, so thinking about your persuasive devices, thinking about your opening paragraph. You should already have a plan in place. You should already have an opening paragraph that you're happy with, and now it's just about making sure that you write the rest of your response. If you have already written your response to this question, at the very end of this video, you will see that there is another question that you can have a go with, have an attempt with, and plan for that one and write your answer to that as well.
Okay, so before you start your writing piece, over the next 3 slides, I've just put together some basic writing skills for you to remember and to consider when you are writing. There are loads more different writing skills to consider as well, but these are the ones that I feel are the best ones to focus on that students don't usually consider or think about or usually trip up on. So on this slide, you'll see that there are a range of different connectives. Think carefully about how you might want to use your connectives throughout your writing. Think carefully about how you can use them to either maybe support examples, to develop your argument, develop your point of view. Keep going back to this slide and consider how you might be able to use maybe 2 or 3 of these throughout your writing. So a lot of students do worry about spelling on the writing section, and you'll be surprised that the proportion of marks aren't that many. However, there are still marks available, and there are some common mistakes that people make. You'll see on this slide that I've put a couple of things here that students make mistakes on. Most common, I feel, are the use of there, and there. Maybe think of a way that you can try and remember those different spellings and the way that they are used. Think carefully about your plurals, your prefix and suffixes, but also think about your homophones as well. Have a look at some of those notes that I made on that slide, and just consider carefully about how you might check your work afterwards or as you're writing when you're going through and looking at your spellings. And the final thing that I want you to consider for this writing task are your use of verbs, the tense of your verbs, and also try and have a go with using modal verbs as well. So for question 5, you will have to mainly write in the present tense. So writing in the present tense can give you a greater sense of immediacy in your writing, and it helps you to make a clear connection. You can see one of those examples where I put "don't you agree." You might use past tense. So for example, if you're writing an anecdote and you want to report an event that's relevant to the topic and go back to something, you might use the past tense for that as well. Have a go at using modal verbs if you can as well. So they are, modal verbs modify verbs, and they really help to reinforce your attitude or viewpoint to your piece of writing. So you'll see on that table there are some different examples of modal verbs, some examples of how you can use them. Have a go at trying to use at least 2 or 3 in your writing response to this question.
So there you have it. So if you can have a think about all those writing skills, then you've got your notes on those 3 slides. There are other things to consider as well, though. Don't think that is just it. Think about your range of vocabulary, your range of punctuation. Think about your variety of sentence lengths. Think about those devices that we looked at in the last lesson as well. And think carefully about your purpose of your writing. Think about trying to engage your reader. That's the most important thing. Don't feel like this is, I need to try and put as much punctuation in as possible, or I need to show off every single sentence type in every paragraph. That's not the case. But you do need to show your examiner that you know a range of skills, but the main thing is that you think carefully about the quality of your piece and the quality of your writing, and that it's engaging. So, have a go with the question that we've looked at. If you've already done that, or you want to have a go at a different question, have another go at the question that's just underneath that on this slide. Try and time yourself if you can to about 45-50 minutes for this question, and then stop and then send that to me, and then I can mark that and send that back to you.